Hey, buds. Thank you for tuning into today's episode when you can literally be doing anything else.
If you guys are somehow liking the content that we're putting out for you guys weekly, please feel free to leave a like or a rating on Spotify or Apple Podcast.
And if you want to watch us, you can find us on YouTube at the Fantasy Buds Podcast. You can leave a like or comment, and you can subscribe to us.
And if you even for some reason decide you want to follow us on Instagram, we are at Fantasy Buds Podcast to keep up with all of our daily advice and shenanigans.
Thanks for listening, and hope you enjoy the show.
Why is Mike Boone even involved at all? Like, why is he part of the game plan?
Fire him!
Like,
Exclamation points. I put exclamation points on this.
Yeah, you just put exclamation points on the way you said that, too.
Yeah,
Dude.
That may have been loud. I apologize, but not really. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Fantasy Buds Podcast, and I have some good news for you all. The listeners that we do have, we have a name for you now, and we are going to call you Buds. Our buds. Our little buddies. So those that have been tuning in and listening to us, you're our little buddies. You're a part of a community now. Congratulations. So to start off, week one, it was awful. Week two, complete opposite. So I lost all my leagues week one, won them all in week two. And then this week it was just back and forth. Some leagues I dominated. Some leagues I lost a close matchup. Two. I just did horrible in some leagues. I played the high score in others. It was very up and down. Specifically one league, our Dynasty League, the man to my left is now 3-0 in my division, and I am 1-2 yet again for the third straight fucking year. And I'll tell you the reason to that is Nathaniel Hackett. Because I am a Javonte Williams owner, and the underutilization of Javonte Williams is criminal. It is criminal. And I have a shirt today. And I'm going to put this on.
I said we got to show him the shirt.
I'm selling this at $19.99. There's only one. Thoroughly thought out, made in China. Fire Hackett. You read this? Fire him. You Jeff Bezos looking motherfucker.
After 3 weeks into his head coaching career.
That's all he gets. That's all he deserves.
Fire him.
You have Russell Wilson, Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, Javonte Williams, and you put Mike Boone as your fucking third down back. You're splitting carries with Melvin Gordon. Like week one, all right, it was cute. Fine, whatever. But you're doing this every fucking week now.
Why is Mike Boone even involved at all? Like, why is he part of the game plan?
Fire him!
Like,
exclamation points. I put exclamation points on this.
Yeah, you just put exclamation points on the way you said that, too.
Yeah,
Dude.
That may have been loud. I apologize, but not really.
Yeah, it's really frustrating, especially because I think all of us know Javonte Williams really is that good. You just got to let him, play.
He's the best running back they have.
Yep.
Without question. They traded up in the draft to get him. So why do you do that?
It's also good to know Javonte Williams right now, he was going in the second, third round in most of your drafts. He has 36 points right now through 3 weeks. We do play with some bonuses, so our rankings might be a rank or two off from other rankings out there. But
the points are relatively close.
In our league, he is running back 19 for 36 points. I'm going to give you some players who have more than 36 points right now. Zach Ertz is actually tied with him for 36 points through 3 games. Jamal Williams has 45 points through 3 games, who you most likely got for free in your draft. The most hated player in the NFL, Antonio Gibson, 40 points right now
40.
through the first 3 weeks.
40.
Cordero Patterson, the running back for 58 points. That is almost damn near double Javonte Williams' points. I just feel like something's got to give.
So
for
this
him.
this leads us into a big topic that I want to talk about today. And this is a trend that I've been noticing over the last few years. And it's really coming true this year. We talk about the tight end position dying, being dead. I think the running back position is on its way. Follow the money of the NFL. Who's getting paid? Quarterbacks and receivers. Running backs aren't anymore.
Nope.
I will tell you, so in our draft, 10-team league, and I would say this is probably the same as other drafts, in the first 4 rounds, these are the players taken at running back. Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry, CMC, Austin Eckler, Naji Harris, Dalvin Cook, Javonte Williams, Joe Mixon, DeAndre Swift, Alvin Kamara, Nick Chubb, Aaron Jones, Saquon Barkley, Zeke Elliott, Cam Akers, Leonard Fournette, and James Conner. Now, through 3 weeks, now it's not a large sample size, but it is a relevant sample size. This is 3 games now. There's only 17 of them. So this isn't 1 game. It's not 2. It's now, we're almost a month into the season, 4 weeks in. And here are the top 15 in our rankings, in our leagues. Here are the top 15 backs through 3 weeks in order. At number 1, Nick Chubb. Number 2, Saquon Barkley. Number 3, James Robinson. Number 4, Cordell Patterson. Number 5, DeAndre Swift. Number 6, CMC. Number 7, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Number 8, Jonathan Taylor. Number 9, Aaron Jones. Number 10, Khalil Herbert.
Off of one
Number 11, Jamal Williams.
Oh,
Number
God.
12, Derrick Henry. Number 13, Antonio Gibson. Number 14, Austin Eckler. And number 15, Leonard Fournette. Now you tell me, what the fuck?
what's going on with running backs now?
I'm telling you, running backs don't get 30. They're not going to get 25 to 30 touches
The
anymore.
game is just changing.
It just seems like teams are afraid or are reluctant to give them those carries too because teams don't want to pay running backs anymore.
I
mean,
think that's 100%
look at
true.
every single running back who got paid. Christian McCaffrey just
Yeah.
missed basically 2 seasons almost.
Dalvin
Joe
Cook.
Mixon, it fucking hurt again right now. And he honestly, he's been a good running back, but never, not even what the Bengals have paid him. The Bengals paid him in the Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook tier, and he's not there. Like you were saying, Dalvin Cook.
Dalvin Cook hurt again. Got paid. He's been hurt the last few years. He hasn't played a full season.
The game's just changing.
Look at what happened to Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah.
I think teams are seeing this happen. Christian McCaffrey. The Panthers team is tied to him, and he misses
Yep.
2 seasons like that. That's a big hit to your football team. And I think we have now opened the closet, and the boogeyman is there. The running back position is dying.
There's only 3 running backs so far, fantasy-wise, that are averaging over 20 points. And it's the first 3 names that you said. It's Nick Chubb at 1, who's averaging 24.3 a week. Then it's Saquon, who's averaging 23.7, and then James Robinson at 22. After that, it's almost a full 4-point drop-off
Which is
with
huge.
Cordell Patterson, which it doesn't seem like a lot, but fantasy-wise, 4 points, that's going to win you leagues sometimes.
That
They're
could
not
be the
leagues
difference.
games, but that could be the difference. And then it goes from James Robinson at 3, averaging 22 points, to Cordell Patterson, averaging 19.3 at 4. Khalil Herbert went from non-existent to the running back 8 because of 1 game. 1 game where he had 30-something points. Granted, we have bonuses in our league, so it could change for everybody else. But in that 1 game, he jumped Derrick Henry, Austin Eckler, Leonard Fournette, Joe Mixon, Javonte Williams, Naji Harris. Breece Hall is listed higher than Naji Harris right now in fantasy. So
He's not even a full-time starter.
He's not even a full-time starter. And that's why it's one of those things where the running back position is just dying. It's changing. Even with football in general, it's changing. You watch all these wide receivers now, they all kind of fit the aspect of it's a deep ball wide receiver. Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, all these guys. It's more of an air out game now to where it's go deep. Granted, you still have your guys like T. Higgins, Thielen, stuff like that.
There's position guys, there's slot guys,
but a lot of the wide receivers, exactly. But a lot of the wide receivers that come out now, Drake London, everybody, they're all deep threat wide receivers to where it's airing the ball out. Now with quarterbacks too, that's another thing that's changing. Almost every quarterback that comes out of the draft is dual threat. They can run and they can throw. It's not how it used to be where a lot of them were pocket passers and they would do all these dump offs. It's just the game itself is changing, and I wouldn't be shocked soon if a few years from now, running backs are just completely irrelevant when it comes to fantasy.
So Jonathan Taylor was pretty consensus, like the number 1 pick in most leagues this year, I would say.
Yeah.
Right now, he has 50 points through the first 3 weeks for the running back 8. Doesn't sound bad on paper, right? I'm going to give you some wide receivers who have more points than Jonathan Taylor right now.
Can't wait for this one.
This one's going to be bad. I can already.
And A.J. Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jalen Waddle, Cortland Sutton, Marquise Brown, Christian Kirk, Amari Cooper, Curtis Samuel, Garrett Wilson, Rashad Bateman. And that's all I got.
Curtis Samuel.
You don't need to say much more than that.
But these players are all ranked. For example, let's look at Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase, you could say he's been a little underwhelming maybe so far this season. He's been okay, but, had a great week 1, had like 30 points or something like that. Past 2 weeks, he's been a little down. He's the wide receiver 14 right now, 54 points. That's still more than Jonathan Taylor, who was the first pick in your draft, more than likely, and the running back 8. That's also more than Christian McCaffrey, if he was the first pick in your draft, who was the running back 6, and he only has 53 points.
And it's not like these guys are even playing bad.
Nope.
If you look at their yards per carry, they are playing very well. But the problem is they are not getting the touches. So I remember I saw something the other day. So if you need to get 17 fantasy points in your lineup without any touchdowns, a running back needs 120 rushing yards, 3 catches, and 20 yards. Whereas a wide receiver just needs 8 catches for 90 yards.
Which is very doable in today's league. I mean, the quarterbacks, Joe Flacco threw the ball 50 times.
Teams
2
are
weeks in a row.
passing
I mean,
65-35 now. This is where it's going.
Yep.
Follow the money, follow the trends, and I've just seen this more often than not. Teams that load up on running back, they end up more hurt than not.
Yep. And going off of what you just said, Matt Collins, Greg Dortch, Devin Duvernay, Chris Olave, and Terry McLaurin are all 3 or 4 points away from matching Jonathan Taylor.
the Olave Garden.
Terry McLaurin with 47 points on the year. Matt Collins with 46. Greg Dortch with 45.
And Greg Dortch wasn't even a thought in anybody's draft.
3 of the 4 guys I named were more than likely waiver wire pickups. And they're almost outscoring the RB8.
This is just insanity to me. Now, with all this information right now, we're not saying go and trade Jonathan Taylor for Greg
No,
Dortch.
not at all.
We're not saying just
No.
drop these players or trade them away, but I think expectations need to change for running backs.
Is the era of like them going in the top 3-5 picks in your first round over? Like, because I think
it might be starting.
Because to be honest, after this year, like,
who's going to go number 1 at running back now? If this continues throughout the year,
there's no way. I'm happy I took Jefferson at 2 now.
I'm happy I took Cooper.
Exactly.
Up
I'm
the first round.
ecstatic that I took Jefferson at 2.
It's like, what? Like, are you still gonna take? If Jonathan Taylor finishes as the running back 10, I still think he's gonna go in the first round, even if he has a down year this year. But dude, like, I'm even at the point where like I'm ready to take some of these quarterbacks over some of these running backs.
It's
like,
been a constant decline with running backs. It's not like this just appeared 1 year.
Jalen Hurts is the quarterback 3 with 94 points right now.
Yep.
I mean, what did we say that the running back 1 had? Did Nick Chubb 74?
So to talk about that, I want to bring up, since we're talking about the points, the top 5 wide receivers and the top 5 running backs. So if you have these on your team, which side do you think is winning more games? So at the wide receiver 1, we have Stephon Diggs in our league.
He's averaging like 30 points a game.
He has 102 points through 3 games. But the RB1 and Nick Chubb, through 3 games, he has 73 points.
73 points.
It's like a 30-point difference.
29-point difference.
That's going to win or lose you a game.
That could win, yeah, or 2. Who knows? Now, you move over to the wide receiver 2 and Cooper Kupp. He's got 86 points. But the running back 2, Saquon Barkley, who he's been great, and you were right about him. However,
still only 71 points.
71 points versus Cooper Kupp's 86. You'd move down to the wide receiver 3 and Jalen Waddle. He has 81 points. James Robinson as the running back 3, even though he's been a steal in drafts, even though he's looked great and he's been producing, 66 points versus Jalen Waddle.
And
now
that's with 3 touchdowns. He has 66 points. Granted, he's getting some receptions, but most of his points are coming off.
And we're talking about full point PPR.
Like, Josh Allen. Like, if you took Josh Allen in the second round, he's the quarterback 2 with 99 points. That's fucking almost damn near 50 points a game. He's averaging at least. Like,
that's
he almost has 100 points due to. And Lamar Jackson, the quarterback 1 right now, we play with bonuses, 128 points through 3 weeks.
Well, I think that goes back to the point that I was saying earlier, where now it's QBs
are running the
changing.
ball.
They're running the ball. Lamar Jackson, pull up him real quick. I'm pretty sure he has his last 2 games. He's had over 250 yards passing, and he's had over 100 yards rushing.
Lamar Jackson this week only had 218 yards passing.
Okay, but check his rushing.
He rushed for over 100 yards.
Yep.
And he still passed for 4 touchdowns, but he didn't throw for a shit ton of yards.
And he had a rushing touchdown.
And he had over 40 points in fantasy in PPR. Last week, he threw for over 300 yards and still ran for over 100 yards. So these guys have the potential. Like, Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen can do this too.
These guys are looking like league winners.
But
these guys can do this too. So it's like, why at this point, I'm ready to take some of these QBs in the 3rd round. Oh, because in the 3rd round, you were taking what? Keenan Allen, Mike Evans, you were fucking Leonard Fournette, Zeke.
Hindsight's 2020, but looking back at it now, it's
looking back, for the future. I mean,
well, you also got to take a look at the teams. You said that the first 3 ranked running backs are what? It was Nick Chubb, Saquon, and then James Robinson, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they're the top 3 right now.
Notice how all 3 of their quarterbacks don't run. None of them run. You're not going to call
not to the point where those other quarterbacks.
Not going to call a read option with Daniel Jones.
They do.
Trevor Lawrence can take off, but
Daniel Jones runs, but not.
They're more pocket passers.
But they're not like Lamar, Jalen, Josh Allen, where they're going to be getting you like 50 rushing yards a game and all this stuff.
I'm actually surprised that the Giants don't run more with Daniel Jones.
I know. I'm shocked. He's got speed
because he does. But Saquon is doing so well that
there's really no need.
They're kind of giving him a full workload, which is great. But
also, real quick about the rankings on these players. The wide receiver 4 and Tyreek Hill, he has 78 points. Cordell Patterson at running back 4, 58.
So that's
a 20-point difference. And then Amon-Ra St. Brown at wide receiver 5, 75 points. DeAndre Swift at running back 5, 54 points.
And it's even Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews has 67 points right now. So he was going in probably the 2nd, 3rd round in your drafts. And he has more than all these running backs we just mentioned that went in that range.
If you have a team of these wide receivers versus the team of these running backs, you're 3-0 versus them right now.
You're probably 3-0 versus 0-3.
Basically.
That's pretty much what it is. 0-3 for the running backs.
You could have had a team of quarterbacks and annihilated the running back
top 5
team.
Quarterbacks, to about the points here. Lamar Jackson, 128 points. Josh Allen, 99. Hurts, 94. Tua, 76. Mahomes, 72. That team is beating the team of running backs also.
Yep.
And like I said, follow the money. The NFL are looking for quarterbacks, looking for receivers. They're paying them. They're loading up on them. And the running back position is just slowly dying because they know this is the thing that's been pissing me off in recent years because every year you go into a draft and they tell you got to get running backs. You got to get running backs because it's such a
Gotta load
scarce
up
position.
early, yeah.
Got to load up early. Well, guess what? If you did that, you're most likely in the toilet right now. And I'm tired of this narrative. I really am. Because you can take guys like Josh Allen into top 3 rounds. Guys like Jalen Hurts, guys like Lamar Jackson, or Cooper Kupp and Stephon Diggs and Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill. And you are better off than loading up at running back. Because guess what? Later in the draft, or when you're in waiver wire pickup season, you could pick up guys like Jamal Williams, Khalil Herbert, Michael Carter.
And you've been saying this for a while because with the free agency draft, you just went running back.
I did it last year.
You did it last year and it worked.
This year, right now, I'm leading in points.
I mean, I'll
without
tell you
any
what,
running backs.
My team in that league would probably be a lot better off if I didn't draft Travis Etienne in the 3rd round because I needed a running back.
Who did you pass on?
Or I can't. I'd have to look at the board.
You
can't
might have
remember
passed
who
on
it
Sutton.
was on that.
He passed
no,
on-
Cortland Sutton, and Nick took him really early.
Yeah, Nick took him. Nick
No.
took Pittman and Sutton back to
But
back.
I mean, even like
You passed on Waddle
Jalen Waddle, I could even like Hollywood Brown at
Yeah.
this point. Like,
because everybody gets into that mindset that you need running backs. And I'm sorry to tell you, folks, you don't anymore.
I think you maybe just need to get one.
Just one late. And just pick
even,
up guys,
Even
'cause-
if like you pick Saquon in the 2nd or 3rd round, he is paying off for you right now.
Even drafting running backs like handcuffs late, you're gonna these guys end up getting hurt.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, Dalvin Cook. It's almost like, all right, like
You
what
blink
week's he
and
gonna
there's
go
a Q next
down
to
this
his
year?
name,
Like
like-
DeAndre Swift, and like I love DeAndre Swift, but it's getting to the point where like, when's he going down this year? Like, when is he gonna get hurt? Like McCaffrey, when is he going down? When is JT gonna go down? So like, if they keep giving him like. Week 1, they did give him over 30 carries. So I think he can get back to that. But even if they do, maybe they're reluctant to because they're afraid of killing this guy, like all these other running backs. And that's great for Jonathan Taylor, but it's not good for your fantasy team because he's not going to get we don't have Jamal Charles and Todd Gurley and LaShawn McCoy
Matt Forte
and Le'Veon Bell anymore.
Those
These guys
are gone.
are an afterthought. They're a thing of the past.
Yep.
Remember those days? Do you guys remember those days?
Yeah.
I kind of miss those days, like you would get the
days of running backs and tight ends.
Oh, you mean this motherfucker with his goddamn Danny Woodhead every goddamn year?
Oh, my God.
Danny Woodhead,
Jesus Christ.
PPR machine.
Melvin Gordon at one point when he was on the Chargers.
Yeah, he was on the Chargers. He was a stud.
He was a beast on the Chargers.
Nick took him, like top 3 one year, didn't he?
I don't remember.
I think he did. I think he
Dude, that was a
did.
long time.
I think he
that was
did.
a
I
long
think it was the
time
one
ago.
year
Look,
when he snapped.
I mean, even like Frank Gore, like teams had
Frank
Good old
Gore.
reliable.
teams had Alfred Morris,
DeMarco Murray.
DeMarco Murray.
Yep.
Like teams had these running backs. They would just feed them the fucking ball, and they don't want to do
Arian
that
Foster,
anymore. Yeah.
Foster, like,
Yeah, we don't talk about him.
but he was amazing though. Still,
Well,
yeah,
he's
I
so
know. Trust
true.
me, I know. He came back for one game, got me 27, and then tore his ACL in the huddle.
I mean, and we have slowly seen over time more and more teams go to running back by committee, and
Yeah.
in a sense, I don't blame them. The Patriots have been doing that shit for fucking 10 years now,
And it got them how many Super Bowls?
and right,
Like,
and
the Eagles won the Super Bowl doing
and
that.
the Eagles also started to try and doing that because they were rolling LeGarrette Blount, Corey Clement,
Darren
Darren
Sproles.
Sproles,
well, I feel like it makes it
Jay
harder.
Ajayi, and they
Yeah.
had these guys. They had all these running backs who were performing well, and if you give them all 7-8 touches, they're probably not going to get hurt. It reduces their chance of getting hurt significantly.
Yeah.
And you need to have guys on the field to win games. Look at the Ravens last year. They lost their whole defense and they were terrible. So you need these guys to play. They need to be healthy.
And I guess it is
So-
smart to not feed these running backs anymore.
It is
because-
from a football sense.
because when you do give them 7 carries and they're still averaging 5 a carry,
like
like-
DeAndre Swift, to be honest.
that's still good for your football team.
Nick
You don't
Chubb,
need that all
honestly.
from one player. You can get that from multiple players.
Nick Chubb technically is part of a committee. I mean, he
Yeah.
doesn't get a full 25 touch workload. They don't throw him the ball.
He's just hyper efficient.
Very efficient. He's incredible. But it's awesome. Nick Chubb might damn near be the best running back in football.
I think he's the best pure
Pure
runner.
running.
Pure running back.
But
he
I've
probably
seen it a
is.
long
But
time.
did he go in the first round in any fantasy draft the past couple seasons? I mean,
Nope.
I think it's fair to argue he's in that. I think he's better than Dalvin Cook and Alvin Kamara, to tell you the truth.
At
And
this point, yeah.
At
and-
this point, yeah.
I think he has been better than them for the past 2 seasons. And these are guys who both get drafted higher.
and you're left holding the bag more often than not.
And look at Alvin Kamara is a really good example for this, actually. So I was looking at him earlier. He, this season, is the running back 51 through 3 weeks. He has 13 points this year. Now look,
man,
he missed 1 game with injury. So he's played 2 games and has 13 points in 2 games.
And he's a second-round pick
He
and
had
first-round pick in some
12
weeks.
touches in week 1, 17 touches in this week. He missed week 2. Even so, though, do you want to draft a guy even in the back end of the first round that's going to get 17 touches? At that point, I'd rather draft fucking Tyreek Hill. At that, like, take the shot. Like, I know we were kind of down on him. Yeah, like, I mean, at this point, Mark Andrews. Like, at this point, like, I'd rather take these guys than even Austin Eckler. Like, I saw Austin Eckler going second.
He had 4 carries this past game.
Like,
how does he have 4 carries?
And it's just ugly all around for running backs.
And look, sorry, I didn't.
No, you're fine. I didn't want to cut you off. I thought you were done.
What were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say. I mean, I did the opposite in our 14-man league. I didn't do what you did. I actually went double running back to back. Granted, I shouldn't have, but I mean, going off of carries, like you just said, Aaron Jones. Okay, he's the running back 8.
He had like 5 carries this week, didn't he?
He had 5 carries week 1. He had 15 carries 2 weeks ago, and then this past week he had 12.
12 carries.
He had 9 points week 1, 36 week 2, because he had 132 yards and a touchdown. And we have bonuses. This week he had 5 points. He had 12 carries for 36 yards. I get A.J. Dillon's in the picture. I get it.
He hasn't even
Dillon
been that
didn't do
good. No,
shit.
A.J. Dillon hasn't even been.
It's just like, it's ugly all around for running backs. Like Nick Chubb, Saquon Barkley, and James Robinson are the only ones who have guaranteed over like 52 touches.
Taking this off. This is hot.
Like,
keep talking.
It's the only 2, and it's just like, it's a pain in the ass. DeAndre Swift has like 27 touches.
Like I saw Naji Harris go as high as 4 or 5 in some drafts. He is the running back 21 for 35 points right now through 3 weeks. He's averaging about 12 points a game. Like, is this who you want? And he was going ahead of guys like Stephon Diggs very consistently in drafts. Devontae Adams even, very consistently in drafts. Even like Tyreek Hill, who before this season was a guy who would go in the first round in drafts. And there were some drafts I saw these running backs go ahead of Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase. Just because teams need to get these running backs. And you don't.
You don't anymore.
Like, are these guys really helping you win?
And Derrick Henry won at 3 in our other league besides free agency. He's the running back 12. He's averaging 13 points a week for a 3rd overall pick.
Luka took James Conner in the 2nd round in
He's
free
been
agency.
fucking awful.
Running back 31 with 28 points. Like, Blaze took Cam Akers. I mean, we've talked about Cam Akers enough, with the injury and all that shit. But the running back 46 with 17 points. I mean, like, Travis Etienne, we're all guilty of this. He's horrible.
He's horrible.
Like, he's fucking
we don't
horrible.
even need to tell his points. Like he's just been
he's hard. Like,
awful.
Oh no, you're not roping me into that shit.
And
nope, that's you too.
I get
nope, that's you too.
Tim
I said
Robinson.
James Robinson from the start. You
Whatever.
stay on your side.
Whatever, dude.
I mean, guys were taking Chase Edmonds pretty high this year. Running back 28, 29 points. Like,
yeah, like it's
fucking.
I mean, like, it's just at the point where.
Do you
want
to win games? Do you want
worth it?
By the end of the season, look, these running backs, they'll probably finish with 200 to 250 points on the season. They'll look nice. They'll have a few blow-up games. They'll finish with a decent, finish.
Yeah.
But are they helping you win? They're not anymore.
No.
I've just seen this over and over again. I've been these teams where I've felt forced to load up on running backs, trade assets away to get running backs, trade away receivers to get running backs. And guess what? It just doesn't help me fucking win. You know who helps you win? Guys like Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts and Tua at this point. He's helping you win.
In our 2-flex league, I'm done. I'm not doing 2. I'm just starting the 2 running backs that I have to start, and then everything else is a wide receiver. Everything else is a wide receiver.
My father was telling me this like a few years ago. that eventually in fantasy football, we might have to just go off of team rushing.
That's gonna break my heart.
If we have
If
to
we
do
ever
that,
have to do
that will
that.
be you just take that out.
I think
That's just
I
pathetic.
think there's more of a possibility that you see teams go to one running back eventually. Like you start one running back, maybe you get another flex. Because I mean, we're at the point where like I really do believe in 10 years, maybe 5, things change, trends change. There might be some generational guy who comes along who changes trends in the end. We've seen it before. We're seeing it with Josh
He's
Allen
supposed to
right
be-
now.
We're seeing it with
supposed to be
these
Lamar
receivers
Jackson,
coming out.
We're seeing it right now. So I'm saying it
Well, if
can
we're
change
talking about the
again,
generational running back, it's supposed to be this year. The generational running back's coming out.
But right, we haven't
But
seen
we'll have to wait and see.
one
Like,
of those in a little bit. The last one we saw was Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
Right. And like we
Look
have
how he's been.
and
though.
he's been banged up, having a renaissance this year, but banged up his whole career. And the Giants have been awful.
Yeah.
And you know, like I really think eventually in the next couple of years, every team is going to be the 49ers. I
Yeah.
really do. Then the Eagles. Like I really do think teams are going to. I think this might be the last wave of workhorse backs.
I think so as well because
That we see for a while at
look
least.
at the teams that are in the playoffs and winning championships.
They don't have workhorse running backs.
like.
to
Did
be
Adrian
honest.
Peterson ever go win a Super Bowl?
No.
Did Matt Forte?
Nope.
Did Jamal Charles?
No.
The
Marco
Rams.
Murray?
Nope.
The Rams just won a Super Bowl with
Le'Veon Bell?
a Darrell Henderson and Cam Akers
Yeah.
Yeah.
on 1 foot, one Achilles tandem, basically.
Uh,
You know, and
The Chiefs won the Super Bowl with fucking Damian Williams and
who played incredible that game.
played incredible, but then they let him go
right.
right after that because guess what? They're replaceable.
Yep. They just
They're
replace
always-
him right away.
They have a lifespan of like 3 to
Like-
4 years.
Getting kind of deep here, but like, are kids even like going to want to play running back? You know, I just think that we're not on a good track for them. Like,
Yeah.
I think,
They get hurt the most. They have
I
the most
think-
contact.
and I don't think it's a coincidence that we're not seeing first round running backs in the NFL very often anymore.
I think it's because a lot of teams are realizing what you said earlier, where it's just all these teams are switching to committee. And you got to look at it this way. If you have a quarterback who also takes carries, that's already going to, if we're just talking carry sense, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, you have a quarterback like that, that's automatically going to be, let's say, like 15, 20% of the carries gone right there. Then you're going to do a running back by committee on top of that. You're not going to get shit from anybody. If you have 2 running backs who's in a running back by committee and a rushing quarterback, you can't go near any team that, like, even fantasy-wise, you can't
Yeah,
go near.
I
You're not
mean-
going to get anything.
Look at the Eagles running backs. I mean, as much as we love them because they're
Yeah.
but like they're really not any of them are really reliable. In fact, I mean, Miles Sanders gets work,
Dude.
but
Look at Alvin Kamara.
yeah, I mean,
Has he even broken 10 points this year so far?
no.
No,
and
Mark
I think-
And
Ingram
he's a
scored.
receiving back,
I think
too.
it's interesting.
Mark Ingram scored.
Like,
I think it's interesting to note about Alvin Kamara is he also got paid a nice and I get he makes up for it with the receiving ability, but he's never even had. I don't think Alvin Kamara's ever had over 1,000 yards rushing, and neither has Austin Eckler. And these
Yeah.
guys are guys who are like getting picked in the first round. Like, I think they're dying. I think they're going away.
I think it's over. I think you're going to start seeing wide receivers go early.
I think the last workhorse backs this wave, I think Dalvin Cook and Saquon and, you know, guys like that. Jonathan Taylor, maybe there will be a couple like Jonathan Taylor,
I just don't see it anymore.
but I just don't see guys like Adrian Peterson.
Sorry,
We'll
anymore.
have
Or
to-
maybe we were spoiled growing up.
Nah, we'll
You
have
know,
to see.
we were.
I you know, I'm not sure, but I just feel like every team used to have a running back you can count on. At least one.
Not anymore.
I would
like-
say I would say the last shot would probably be this draft would be John Robinson out of Texas.
Oh,
I think he's the
by
last.
John Robinson.
Yeah, I think he's
But,
the
like, you
last.
never know.
I don't
like-
follow college.
They could just put him, but like
he's ridiculous.
But
dude.
he's the kind of guy where I don't know. Does he just get to the NFL and then he's in a goal line role?
That's what I'm saying. It could be you
like,
don't know.
for example, Isaiah Spiller was a very highly
Yeah.
rated running back this
Yep.
year coming out. I get it. He's been hurt, but he was just gonna take. He was only there to take goal line carries, basically.
Yeah.
And I think he was a fairly high draft pick, like second, third, like. But we're considering second, third round, even fourth, somewhat high for running backs now. Like these guys used to go in the first round pretty frequently.
I remember the one year it was all running backs.
You know,
Yeah,
in
the
the
first
first
like 8 picks were running backs.
what did the Cowboys in the 90s? They traded Herschel Walker for what? How much? They traded him for like
It's known as the Great Train Robbery.
Yeah,
in case
like-
anybody didn't know.
they
They got, I think, like 4 first-round picks, like 5 second,
Players.
like all these players, and then they turned into a dynasty, and the Vikings went into a fucking hole.
I could be wrong, but I think one of those picks was Emmitt Smith as well.
Oh no, like they got Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith. They built their defense through that, which smothered the Bills in the Super Bowl. And like they got Michael Irvin, they got is it Alvin Harper? What was his name?
I don't know the entire. I just know that the Herschel Walker trade is so important. It has its own Wikipedia page. That is how big of a trade. Like, but look at the Ricky Williams trade as well. Like, teams used to value these running backs so much.
Trent Richardson with the Colts.
Yeah,
Trent Richardson was
I forgot about Trent Richardson.
Trent Richardson was what, the third pick in the draft?
Yeah, and then
by the Browns,
the Colts traded away
a first round pick for him.
I don't know what they traded,
So fucking imagine a running back now coming out having 800 yards his rookie year or 900 yards like Trent Richardson did and getting traded for a first round pick. Christian McCaffrey couldn't get a first round pick this offseason.
No.
And
I don't think teams would even trade a third round pick for him at this point.
Would you?
If I'm NFL GM, probably not.
No. Like I damn straight wouldn't trade a first round. I mean, look at Najee.
I could just sign somebody off the street if I have a good offensive line.
Look at Naji Harris. He just went in the first round.
And he's been, where's that team going?
Don't you think the Steelers maybe would have benefited a little more? Maybe they grab an offensive lineman. You know, their offense has been borderline inept this year. And Naji Harris has been crazy inefficient, but, like their offensive line is not good anymore. You know,
they could have taken
a lot of these guys aren't there anymore. Villanueva, gone. David DeCastro, gone. Like
they don't have Big Ben anymore.
Pouncey, gone. You know, like these guys are gone. Like their running back, their offensive line's not the same. I mean, their offensive line made Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah.
Look at what happened to him after he went to the Jets.
Yep.
I think offensive line is more important than running backs at this point. And if I was a GM, I would value them. I don't blame these teams, to be honest, but it breaks my heart for fantasy football because, like we said, we were spoiled. Like, remember we go to the draft and like you were always grabbing your star running back early.
You were just so happy because you knew what you were getting.
And like they were so reliable. Like my first year, I ended up winning the championship, and my first pick was Matt Forte, and it was great. Like every game, it was 20 points, and he would sometimes blow up and get 30, 35, like you can count on these guys. Are you happy if you took Jonathan Taylor right now?
No, not at 1.
I bet depending on who your next 2 picks were, you're probably 1-2 or 0-3 right now.
Yeah.
If you took Jonathan Taylor. And, look, there's those middle round guys who hit, obviously, and if you get those guys on your team, it's going to be a big boost. Last year, it was Cooper Kupp. This year,
it's looking like Jalen Waddle.
It's looking like Saquon Barkley and Jalen Waddle right now. So even Tyreek Hill, like...
He fell to the third round.
I fucking hate that we were I at least was so down on him. Like,
well, we all really didn't think Tua was going to be able to hit the broadside of a barn.
And now it's confirmed. Like he's had Alex Smith, Pat Mahomes, Tua. He's
just good. He is in fact him.
He's just good.
He's just going to do what he's the fastest player in the NFL. The fastest player in the NFL.
But he's a great route runner too. Like people don't give him enough credit for how good of a and you said this last year, Brian, about how you love drafting the best route runners, and these guys just get open. Like it's obvious, but the better route runners are going to get open. Look at Amon-Ra St. Brown. These guys are going to get open. Look at Kenny Golladay. He was good.
He's just a jump ball guy.
But he's a jump ball. He had a couple injuries.
He's not getting separation.
Lost a little bit. He gets no separation. So I'm really not surprised he's not good anymore. Like if he's not getting open, then it's going to be that much harder to catch the goddamn ball. It's obvious.
Well, since we're so concerned about a lot of these players, why don't we play a little game right now?
Yeah.
So this is what I call to give a shit or to not give a shit. And this is about underperformers and their outlook moving forward.
Oh, lovely.
So our first candidate, Mr. Joseph Mixon.
Kill him. Cut him.
Do you give a shit about... do you give a shit about him underperforming? Do you think... Like it's going to come back together?
Are you saying, we concerned about Joe Mixon?
Are you like, I don't give a shit about his first 3 weeks. He's going to...
I think we all needed to tamper our expectations for Joe Mixon this year. He only was so highly rated. He was what, the running back 4 last year?
He was only that good because he scored 16
touchdowns. I just don't think he's like, that's too unrealistic of an expectation. Look at Austin Eckler. he scored 20 touchdowns last year. Like how
It just doesn't happen back to back
he's not
years.
gonna. It's never happened. Like you're not gonna repeat.
It has, but it's
Has it happened?
I think LaDainian Tomlinson did it,
Did
and
he
Sean
do it?
Alexander and Priso. Like, but that's like 15 years ago.
Well, and it's like those guys. I feel like we're also getting full, like true 3-down workhorse.
35
Like,
fucking
they
touches.
were not coming off the fucking field. Even
Yeah.
Adrian Peterson was like that. But
That doesn't happen anymore, though.
no,
in
it's
today's-
just not happening. And
How-
like,
How do you feel? Like,
yeah,
I have this thing called the Jets test,
what's that mean?
where if you can't do shit against the Jets, you're done.
I mean, it's a
He
good way
had
to evaluate
12
guys.
points
Yeah.
against the Jets, man.
What
like-
was his carries and
I
yards?
think he had like 15 carries, 12 carries,
Now,
24 yards on 12 carries.
I will say he's hurt, but this is
Again.
also
When
a
isn't
regular
he?
thing with Joe Mixon. Like, and I'm not gonna lie, I give a shit about this. I think I don't. This might be it for Joe
I
Mixon.
think he's done.
I think this, but because he hasn't been the most efficient player his whole career. They paid him a nice contract a couple years ago, and
He's over.
He's
I
He's
think-
26 now, or
he's
20?
26.
26.
I think the Bengals would like to invest some of that money into their offensive line.
He's
already have.
very
And they're more,
talented.
to be honest. More. Like, more. Like, because Joe Burrow's still getting hit nonstop, and Joe Mixon, part of the reason why he's so inefficient is because their offensive line has been bad since they got him, and their defense doesn't look good. They can use this money somewhere else. And look, I'm not going to be shocked if this is it for him. He's not an efficient player. He's not explosive.
All of his points are coming off of catches.
as a fantasy player, to clarify.
Yeah, like,
He'll
yeah.
be in the NFL.
I think he's
He'll be
going
on
to be a
teams.
low floor, a high floor, low ceiling. His best game is going to be 20 points this year,
Yeah.
and his worst game is probably going to be 5 or 6 points.
Yeah.
But especially if he's banged up, it's not going to be good. And it's his ankle, and I've had Joe Mixon in a lot of leagues before. His ankle fucks with him all the time. This is not a new thing for him, and they love Samaje Perine. I don't fucking know what it is. They fucking love it. I'm fucking glad they lost in the Super Bowl because of that shit. I don't understand, but yeah, I'm a little worried. To sum it up,
I remember this past Sunday, I watched T. Higgins get down at the 1 yard line. Or no, he scored and then they took it away from him. And then the next play was Samaje Perine reception touchdown. I was just like, what the fuck?
Yep.
like, why is Joe Mixon not in? But I mean, I will say he was banged up.
Let's move on to the next player on this list, Mr. Debo Samuel of the San Francisco 49ers.
Oh boy,
Do you
Okay.
guys give a shit about his
I-
underperformance?
I do give a shit, but at the same time, I'm not very much worried because he did just only have one game back with Jimmy Garoppolo. I think this is going to be one of the things where you got to give it a few weeks for them to get back into rhythm. If Trey Lance was still the quarterback, no shot.
I kind of agree
But-
with Tim here, because Debo did have the most targets he's had all year this week.
Yep.
Now it was 8. I will say, but
it's on the up.
it's still the
it's
most.
on
It's
the
climbing. It's
and-
climbing.
Debo's rushing hasn't really been there, but we kind of knew we had to tamper that, this year. He's not I think last year was kind of an anomaly for him. I think Debo will be okay, but he's not
Yeah.
going to pay off where you drafted him. And I'm saying this as somebody who picked him. He's not going to pay off where you picked him. He's not going to live. He was probably being drafted inside the first 8 receivers, and he's not going to finish there.
He'll probably finish as like a wide receiver 2 or like a flex 1.
I think
Something
he's
like
going to
that.
finish in the 15 to 25 range, and that he's might have 1 or 2 blow up games all year. The 49ers offense hasn't looked good,
No, it has not.
and
Mm-mm.
Jimmy G's only been back for 1 game, so I agree with that. I want to see next week too for D. I'm not ready
They
to
do
totally
go
just.
against LA next week.
I will say, and the Rams have not been good against receivers.
No, their defense is absolutely fucking
I
terrible.
wouldn't sell Debo for nothing. I would maybe look at him as a buy low, actually.
Yes,
But I would also tamper your expectations. He's not going to be in the top 5 receivers again.
exactly. Don't go out trying to get him thinking you're going to get this steal of a guy who's going to be getting you 30 points
No,
a week and
but
all
I
that
do
stuff.
think he could finish in the 15,
Absolutely.
25 range. And, you'll take that, especially, he's been very solid, but solid doesn't win you weeks.
Seeing as how the top 15 wide receivers are probably going to outscore all the fucking running backs, go for it.
Look, if you have a good team and you have a lot, well, let's face it, nobody has a lot of running backs to give up because they all suck. But if you have extra assets to trade and you have a good team already and you think you could buy Debo Samuel low for his floor, I would do it, personally.
Yeah. I'm going to say I don't really give a shit about the underperformance because Jimmy G's back, and I think he's the best player on that offense. George Kittle, he's not. It's Debo Samuel.
Yep.
And I think Shanahan will manufacture touches, and he'll get things going, like you said. It's probably going to take a little bit, but I think he's certainly a buy low candidate this year, as of right now. And I think you could get him at a discount before he blows up.
Yeah.
And then people automatically jack up the price. So let's move on to the next player, another Bengal, Mr. Ja'Marr Chase. Now, he is on here because he was drafted as a top 3 receiver. He's always in your lineup no matter what. You're not benching Ja'Marr Chase, but the first week he had 16 targets. He went off. He had 10 catches, 129 yards, touchdown. He had 32 points in this league. But the next 2 weeks against the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Jets, he had 5 catches on 9 targets, 54 yards, and no touchdowns, just 10 points. And then 6 catches on 10 targets for 29 yards and a touchdown, only 12 points. He then plays Miami, Baltimore, New Orleans, Atlanta, and Cleveland.
Yeah. There's a few good.
Do you guys give a shit about this, or do you not?
I don't give a shit.
You don't give a shit.
I think Ja'Marr Chase is going to be fine.
Yeah, I don't care either. I mean, I'm not worried because it really does come down to Joe Burrow, and Joe Burrow got it together. So
yeah,
it
just went to T. Higgins this week.
He did
exactly.
I was going to bring that up. T. Higgins has had 2 good games in a row right now. I do think T. Higgins isn't going to go off every week. There's going to be Ja'Marr Chase weeks too, and T. Higgins also has some injury problems as well. So if he goes out, I think it's only going to help Ja'Marr Chase too. So he 10 targets this week, 9 last week, 13 week 1. I'm sorry, 16 week 1. I think he's going to be fine.
Yeah, he's still getting his volume. He's still he'll be all right.
Let's move on to the next player, a Las Vegas Raider, and that is Mr. Davante Adams. Now, he did go off week 1, but just like Ja'Marr Chase, he's been down the last couple weeks. The Raiders are 0-3. Do you guys give a shit or not give a shit?
You can start this one off. Go right ahead.
What you got, Mark?
This is gonna turn into Derek Carr hate segment. But Derek Carr sucks. He's not a good quarterback. He had 1 good year.
Sorry, Nick.
He's never done anything. He's been in the league for 9 years, hasn't won shit, hasn't done. I don't know how Raiders fans even still like him. Like I don't know how you still want this guy.
Well,
as your,
actually talking about that, you saw what came out, right? That how people were speculating that the other team that Tom Brady was talking about was the Raiders.
Oh, it probably was the fucking Raiders.
And then they pulled out last second, and he said, "You're sticking with that motherfucker."
I would say the same thing. If I was like, "You're really gonna stick with that fucking guy?"
I mean,
after,
look,
fucking home playoff game last year, lost to the Bengals.
No, they were on the road.
Were they away? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No. I'm sorry. The Bengals won their division.
Yeah.
So they were home, but
they gave the Bengals their first win in 30 years.
In 30 fucking years, you lost to a quarterback who was his first time in the postseason, and he
didn't play that great.
Joe Burrow did not play that good.
Nope.
And I'm not. All right. So week 1 for Davante Adams, 10 catches off 17 targets.
Had a day.
Awesome. 141
and
yards.
Everybody was like,
great.
He's back to normal.
I don't remember if I said this on the show or not, but I know I've said this before. A Derek Carr target is not the same as an Aaron Rodgers target.
It's not.
No, it's not at all.
7 targets last week, 2 receptions.
12 yards.
That's not a coincidence. 10 targets this week, 5 receptions. I don't care. It's not a coincidence. If Aaron Rodgers gave him 10 targets, it's 8 or 9 receptions. There's no doubt in my mind at that. Aaron Rodgers is throwing to me and you now. And
Romeo Dubs.
And I kind of like him as a waiver ad, by the way. But
he probably got drafted.
He probably got drafted. But, look, he's old, Rodgers, but I don't give a shit. Derek Carr's not good. Rodgers is still better.
Give me Rodgers at 50 years old.
There's a reason why the Raiders are 0-3. If you put Mahomes on the Raiders, are they 0-3? If you put Josh Allen on there, are they 0-3?
I don't know, but
dude, if you put Kirk Cousins on there, are they 0-3?
You know what? Yeah, to be honest. Yeah. I just don't think Derek Carr is good, and I think it's wearing on Davante Adams. Darren Waller also, he hasn't been amazing. He's been solid, but I think there's a reason for that. I mean, look, I watched a lot of Raiders games last year because I was a Darren Waller owner. I can't even fathom. Like, I wish Darren Waller had a better quarterback.
It's been tough.
Like, I can't. It's like it'll be drag routes and like the ball will be 4 yards over his head. Like, he can't. I just don't think he's good at Derek Carr. He hasn't done anything 9 years in the league. We're 5 years removed from his MVP-esque year where he unfortunately got injured. And I don't believe in him. And that causes me to be down on the Raiders.
I would think about possibly trying to buy him low, Davante Adams, if you can. Because it is Davante Adams. There is always that factor of, he could go off. I don't like Derek Carr. I really don't like Derek Carr, man. I said it from the start. I don't like Derek Carr. That's why I was down on Adams. But
look, you could be great in college together. You know who else was good in college? A.J. McCarron.
Yeah.
Well, it's Nelson Aguilar.
Matt Leinart.
Jalen Reagor. Like, these guys were good in college.
Yeah, I just don't. It doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
So let's move on to a couple of the last players. Let's talk about Naji Harris and Dalvin Cook. Do you guys give a shit about these guys?
Which one are we doing first?
Let's quickly do Naji Harris. Give a shit or not give a shit about his underproduction.
I'll go for Naji Harris because I originally was a big advocate for him in the early offseason. Then I got kind of down on him. Basically, every reason why, especially you, Brian, were down on him, and eventually I came around and kind of became down on him. They've all come to fruition. The Steelers' offense is not good. Mitch Trubisky is not good. Their offensive line is not good. And I don't give a shit. The offensive line matters.
Yeah, absolutely.
It absolutely matters. There's a reason why Joe Mixon is insanely inefficient. There's a reason why DeAndre Swift is insanely inefficient. The Lions, according to Pro Football Focus, have one of the best ranked offensive lines. The 49ers usually are in the upper echelon of offensive line, and notice how they just run with any running back. They'll be running with fucking Debo Samuel half the time. And I just think it matters, and Naji, he's shown it so far. No explosiveness, not efficient. They're not throwing him the ball. He got all his receiving work basically in 2 games last year. They're not, and I am worried.
I give a shit. I'm worried. I would be looking to sell him.
Yeah.
Also, he's banged up.
And Dalvin Cook, I would be looking to sell him also because
he's just,
the injuries keep happening.
Do you think he's done, Tim?
He gets hurt, sky's blue. Like, he does not have a lot of
we don't want this
left.
to happen. It just keeps happening.
He's 1 or 2 injuries away, I think, from saying, all right, that's it, I'm done.
I was going to say, do you think he's done?
Andrew
Luck. I don't think he's done yet, but it's close. If he keeps this up, I think maybe 1 or 2 more years tops.
How long would you want to deal with injuries?
Yeah,
would you want to keep doing that?
The same. It's not even it's weird because he'll get the same injury and then he'll get 5 other minor injuries that he's never had before.
It's also his
what is
shoulder.
It this time? It's his shoulder now,
but
right?
his shoulder has been hurt before, though.
Exactly.
It happened last
and
year.
That's what's worrying.
And that's the thing. So I think it's also good to note how good Alexander Madison plays every time he comes in for Dalvin Cook. And I think
he should be on roster.
I will not be shocked if when he comes back, this turns into a committee.
I honestly, at this point,
I will say that. I will not be shocked.
I mean, are you looking, if you're the Vikings head coach, Kevin O'Connell, right, as their head coach now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you were their head coach, if you're Kevin O'Connell, you're looking at it, you're like, do I really want to just keep feeding Dalvin Cook 20+ touches if he's going to go down? He's going to miss time every single year. I mean, I'm a little worried about Dalvin Cook too. He hasn't even looked great when he's played so far. He doesn't look the same.
I would look to trade both these players.
I would
absolutely. I would.
And Dalvin Cook might be tough because he's hurt now.
It's gonna be tough either way. They're both running backs. You're gonna have a hard
tough.
time.
I mean, you might be able to get him just because of his
Naji
name.
Harris hasn't even broken 14 points.
Yeah, he's been painfully mid. He's been the Debo of running backs.
Yeah,
so far.
Yeah, so that's it for to give a shit or not to give a shit.
Okay.
I think we should talk about some offenses that are concerning, and I think the Chargers are one of them. I'm very concerned about their injuries and their efficiency moving
They
forward.
have a lot of injuries.
A lot of injuries.
I feel like that's the main factor, though.
There's a lot of players invested.
Justin
there.
Herbert should not have played.
No.
I don't care what it is.
He didn't
should
look.
not have
He
played.
looked off too.
The second he went in that game when he came back against Kansas City and he tried to run the ball and he literally had to stop and like walk out of bounds because he couldn't run, his ribs hurt so bad. That right there should have been okay. Yeah, no, he's not playing next week.
Rashawn Slater is a big one.
That's
Yeah.
a big loss.
Too. That's a big one. And Keenan Allen already hasn't played. Mike Williams has shown he's just he's a number 2 deep threat, red zone threat receiver. I think Mike Williams, honestly, I'm not saying trade him, but I maybe sniff around.
Yeah, if you get the right deal, I think you got to take it.
I would just I kind of agree with their injuries, and Mike Williams kind of. I mean, he's inconsistent as it is. So you want an inconsistent player on an offense with a ton of injuries?
No,
I mean,
I don't want that. And I think on the flip side of that ball, an offense that I think we should really look into, the Jacksonville Jaguars.
good offense.
Trevor Lawrence
now,
is
maybe.
that guy.
He's
He
looking like
is
the
him.
guy.
I like Trevor
Crazy
Lawrence.
what happens when you get Urban Meyer out of town, huh?
I really like Trevor Lawrence as a streaming option, but Doug Peterson is a good coach.
He is.
I don't think he should have been. I don't think. Look, I love what the Eagles are doing right now. At the time, I was actually upset they fired Doug Peterson.
I thought, I was like, they should have let Carson go instead of.
Yeah, I was upset, but
yeah.
like I mean, you don't win a Super Bowl, and teams don't start hopping on your trend with the RPOs and shit like that
For no reason.
for no reason. Like Doug Peterson is a good coach.
And he's turning this Jacksonville team around.
I think there's a reason why they're getting the best of Christian. I always liked Christian Kirk. He just never really.
He
Kinda-
now has his shot to show that he's a number one receiver, and he is
Right.
living up to the
He was
expectation.
kind of buried behind DeAndre Hopkins,
Yep.
And behind some of these guys for the Cardinals. But I just we're
Trevor
seeing what he
Lawrence
can do.
is the QB 10,
Trevor Lawrence is having a
and he has
good
more
year.
points than Jonathan Taylor.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Do you know who's 1 point behind Jonathan Taylor? Marcus fucking Mariota
Oh, that's great.
has 49 points.
Stop drafting running backs.
Yeah. It's
Over
over.
Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, it's over.
It's
It's like your relationships.
But
It's
yeah, no,
over.
Trevor Lawrence is looking good. I mean, he's not, 6 touchdowns on the year, 1 interception, 700 yards.
He's
looking
looking
good.
solid. Well, since we're on those two players, which they are in this other game I have for us to play
lovely.
real quick, it's called Faith or Blasphemy. Whether you believe in where they're at
Okay.
and moving forward, or you don't buy it.
Oh, all right.
So these are guys that are ranked in the top 10
Mhm.
of their positions.
Mhm.
Christian Kirk.
Oh,
Faith or blasphemy?
I have faith.
I have faith.
Faith.
I have faith. I think 3 weeks is enough of a sample size. He has done well every game he's played in.
He's clearly Trevor
getting-
Lawrence's
he's
number one
leading-
target.
He's getting the volume, everything.
Clearly, and I really do believe in him. I believe in it. I think you got a seal, and I think he's going to be in a lot of league-winning teams.
I think
Yeah,
so too.
to be
Certainly a lot of
I
playoff
think
teams for sure.
A lot of playoff teams. I'm buying it.
Do you guys have faith or blasphemy with Amari Cooper?
Faith.
I have faith.
I have faith.
So this
Blasphemy.
is tough for me. So I want to have faith, but
Go ahead. Take your own stand.
Jacoby
Do it.
Brissett.
Do it.
That's it. Jacoby Brissett. Like,
Yeah.
Hey,
look,
I mean,
I get it.
That's a good point.
Like the Jets, he went off the Jet. Remember the Jets test?
The
Yeah, that's
Jets
the thing. It's the
test.
Jets test.
And
but
look, I will say, Amari Cooper, he's got Atlanta this week. He's got the Chargers. He's got New England. He's got Baltimore. So there's definitely some good matchups in there. Look, I'm buying it, but I wouldn't expect the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, no, I just have faith because of his targets. That's
Yes,
why
he's
for
been
me.
getting
It's not like he's
targeted.
getting a lack of targets, double-digit targets these past 2 weeks. He's gotten over 20 points each week. In our league, even if he didn't get the touchdown, he still had over 20 points.
I think he's going to be a very good, maybe every week flex play for you
Exactly,
going
yep.
forward. And if your team is good enough, I will say, dude, Deshaun Watson coming back.
He's going to hurt him, I think.
I don't know, because around playoff time for fantasy, if Deshaun Watson comes back,
Fuck him.
and no, fuck him.
Fuck him,
But
yeah.
if
But
he comes
Rapist.
back, I really like. Maybe Amari Cooper's just good. I mean, like the Cowboys.
He's always been good.
The Cowboys are clearly hurting.
look, I mean,
without
right
him.
now
They
he's
did
doing
beat
it
the
with Jacoby
Giants,
Brissett. So
But
All right.
He is doing it. So, and it's like he's done it with several different quarterbacks.
True.
You know, I'm going to change. I'm going to buy.
All right. We're all.
I'm going to buy.
Faith
We're
Yeah.
all faith on Amari Cooper. Yeah.
All right. Now,
I have faith.
the next guy, Tua Tagovailoa. Faith or blasphemy?
Blasphemy.
I'm
I'm not buying it.
going to go faith.
I'm
not
buying it.
I think if you're 3-0, you beat the Bills. You did what you did against the Ravens. I mean, you don't throw 6 touchdowns by accident. I'm
buying it because of Miami's offense.
I'm buying it.
I mean, like, you have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and
Okay, if we're going off of the players bailing him out, then
Mike
I'll buy it.
Gesicki. Like, they have a very good offense. I do think Tua will continue to be a very good quarterback going forward. I think he'll be a good. I don't want to say. I think if you didn't draft a quarterback high, he's a great quarterback for you to have. Without it, I'd pick him up. Like, if you're like me, stupid ass me, and took Kirk Cousins. It is so mid. Or maybe you took a shot on Marcus Mariota with the rushing, something like that. Or you're in a 2-quarterback league. You know, I mean, I'm buying Tua.
I can't. I got to stick with my guns.
So it's 2-1 here.
I got to stick with my guns.
I've kind of bashed him a lot. I'm sorry, Tua. I mean, I agree. You don't throw 6 touchdowns by accident.
Luka's going to be happy you said that.
You know, yeah, I'm sorry, Tua.
Fuck Luka.
You don't do it by accident. You know, he could still miss Tyreek Hill on his deep routes. He can still miss Jay. Like, he's still throwing bomb TDs to these dudes.
It's very hard.
It's
very hard to test how good the quarterback is when you have 2 of the fastest wide receivers in the NFL.
Hey,
Because it doesn't really matter if
You could still
this
suck,
is
though.
fantasy, man.
you could still. No, it's true. It is fantasy. But I mean, Mahomes even said himself sometimes he would say, fuck it. Tyreek's down there somewhere. And he would just throw it.
I mean,
Like,
Derek Carr has Devontae Adams, Hunter Renfrow, and Darren Waller, and he's terrible. Still.
You have a point. All right. That's a solid
So,
point. That's a
That
solid
is a
point.
good
I just
point.
got to. I said I didn't believe. I got to stick with my guns. I don't want to switch.
Russell
That's
Wilson
blasphemy.
has Cortland Sutton, Javonte Williams, and Jerry Judy. Now, a lot of that is
No,
coaching.
fuck Nathaniel Hackett.
Nathaniel
Yeah.
Hackett.
No, it's Nathaniel Hackett.
A lot of it.
Fuck that.
buy my shirt for $19.99.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I'm buying it.
we're gonna buy on Tua.
2-1 for Tua.
I think I know the answer to this one. Faith or blasphemy with Cordell Patterson. Blasphemy.
See, that's hard. But I'm going to go blasphemy.
I don't buy his shit at all. He's gonna fall off again.
I'm
I'm gonna say blasphemy.
gonna also go blasphemy. I just think the Falcons are bad.
yeah.
They're not well coached. Clearly, you can't figure out how to use Kyle Pitts. You're not a good coach. Like, it just kind of comes down. Like, if you really can't figure out this generational freak tight end athlete, like how to use him, then
True.
you shouldn't be a coach.
That's a good point. It's
Like,
a very
so-
good point.
I don't buy it. He fizzled out at the end of he was waiver
fantasy football.
He was waiver pickup of the year last year. I bought him last year. He was waiver pickup of the year. Come playoff time, he didn't help you at all. And I think it's going to be the same thing this year. He's a gimmicky player who's good. He's clearly a good player.
Yeah.
But I just don't. He's
don't
on a
buy
bad
that.
offense. I'm not buying it. Yeah, I think he's going to have his games. He's going to be up and down. He's going to have stretches where he's
I
not
agree.
helping you.
You gotta,
Yep.
all
Tamper
right.
your expectations.
Yep.
3 blasphemies for that. Fuck. Trevor Lawrence. Faith or blasphemy.
Faith. I think Doug
I have
Peterson
faith.
was the best thing that could have happened to him at this
I agree.
early in his career.
I agree. Mark.
I want to see what he does against us this week.
I
'Cause-
fully think this is a track
'cause
game.
being completely unbiased, we are all Eagles fans here.
We got to put down Doug.
Looking at it from Jacksonville's
Gotta put
point of
down
view,
Doug.
if you're looking at your schedule right now and you see at the Eagles, that's a tough game right now.
Oh, 100%.
And I think this game's going to be a big test for Trevor Lawrence. Even if they don't win, I think if Trevor Lawrence plays well this game and the Jaguars offense looks good, because if Christian Kirk looks good and the Jaguars offense looks good against a defense that neutralized Justin Jefferson,
Yeah.
then I mean, I'm buying in that game.
Okay.
Right now, I will buy right now, but I do
You're
really
skeptical.
I'm a little skeptical. I really do want to see what he does. I think him beating up on the Chargers in
See,
LA was a big.
Going off of that, though, I don't really know if we can use that because you got to think we really did just shut down Justin Jefferson. They don't have Justin Jefferson.
But that's
So
the
I
thing,
kind of
though.
feel like Christian Kirk is nowhere. Christian Kirk's good. Don't get me
No,
wrong,
but he's not Justin
nowhere near the
Jefferson.
level. That's why for me, I don't know if we can really use the Eagles as like the bench mark of like, oh, okay, he's either good or he's not. because they're shutting down almost every number one wide receiver they go against.
I think Trevor Lawrence is good. I'm talking about solely for fantasy purposes.
Okay.
Like, am I gonna buy?
Yeah.
Am I gonna drop my quarterback to pick up Trevor Lawrence? I mean,
He's
obviously,
the 10th quarterback right now.
Yeah. I mean, look. To be honest, obviously, if you have Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen or Jalen Hurts, you're not going to drop them.
Yeah, if you have like one of the top 5 quarterbacks, you're kind of set.
But I mean, if you have,
I do it.
If you have Russell Wilson, are you going to drop?
I was about to say, would you drop Russell Wilson?
I would take Trevor. I would take Trevor Lawrence over Russell Wilson right now, personally.
I wouldn't this week.
This week, this week I would say it might be a little not against the Eagles. The Eagles are.
I am down on Trevor Lawrence this week because like the Broncos play the Raiders.
Oh yeah.
If there's any game to get it right.
That is the game.
We'll see.
All right, we'll go with 2 last players here. So we got Tyler Conklin and Zach Ertz, the number 3 and 4 tight end.
I'm going to call blasphemy on Tyler Conklin.
I'm going to call
blasphemy on Conklin too.
I think once Zach Wilson comes back, that whole offense is going to change.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's Elijah Moore, whether it's Zach Wilson taking 10 carries a game for himself. Whether it's Garrett Wilson continues to, who knows? Maybe Garrett Wilson has a diet Jamar Chase season.
Maybe.
I don't know. Who knows? I mean, we're getting to that point with wide receivers. Drake London looks really good right now.
He's looking that way too.
So I'm kind of down. I like Tyler Conklin as a solid flex play. Like he's not going to give you 20 points. He's going to give you like 8 to 12 points, be very solid. Right. But in terms of,
I mean, if you have nobody at tight end. I mean,
nobody, I buy him, but I wouldn't drop Zach Ertz for him.
So you have faith.
I have faith in Zach Ertz.
I have faith in Zach Ertz.
I have faith too.
I owe Kyler Murray an apology. Sorry, buddy.
I think
he's looked good so far.
I think D-Hop is going to be the big test when D-Hop comes back.
I think if anything, it's going to help him.
I think it could help him, but I also think it could take away because you got to think of it. Well, no, because to be fair, Marquise Brown is getting like 12 to 14 targets a game. Dortch is getting 10. Ertz is still getting his targets.
Yeah, Ertz
so
has
once
had
Hopkins
double-digit
comes
targets.
back, but that's also with Rondell Moore out.
Yeah, and look, there are a lot of guys out, but I'm going to buy the talent. Ertz, we know this. Ertz has always been good, and he's still solid.
Any reason we skipped the name you had on that list?
Which one?
The third.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
That's the 4th, actually. James Robinson.
We all know where I stand on that.
Tim buys that.
I'm
going to go blasphemy.
I'm also going to
say blasphemy.
Because, why?
Doug Peterson. I think this is going to be one of those things where we're all talking mad shit on Travis Etienne, and then because we're speaking it into the universe, he's just going to know and tell us to fuck off.
That tends
to
happen.
And then I think it's going to be, for the first, 7 or 8 weeks, it's going to be the James Robinson show. And then he'll get hurt like he always does. He'll miss a game, Etienne will snap, and then it's going to shift into Etienne's favor.
I'm not buying it because I think his production's been all touchdowns.
Yeah.
His production has been a lot of touchdowns.
100 yards rushing this week. Looked very good. But he's not really catching any passes. He's caught 1, 2, and 3 passes so far.
Hey, it's going up every week.
Technically it is, but I think most of his production is coming from touchdowns.
Yeah. Personally, I hope he stays this way. I mean, I have him in 4 leagues. That's how high I was on him. But
if the Jaguars offense continues to be good and James Robinson stays healthy, can he score double-digit touchdowns?
He did have
this year.
He did have 100 yards this past week rushing.
I mean, even if he doesn't
but he did have a 50-yard touchdown.
He did.
We're not going to talk about that.
But I mean, even if he doesn't get the yardage, though, is he going to be a guy who's going to score 13, 14 touchdowns this year? Could he be James Conner this year?
I don't know if he's going to get just rushing touchdowns, but I think he can definitely score double-digit all around.
Yeah, well, I'm saying if the Jaguars' offense continues to be good like it has, they're going to have more scoring opportunities.
I just feel,
and they're not putting Travis Etienne on the goal line.
Well, after dropping a wide-open touchdown, yeah.
I feel like by the end of the season, James Robinson will probably find himself outside the top 12. He'll probably that's the way I feel about it.
I think he's going to finish around the RB8, 7-ish range. But it all comes down to Etienne. Can he get his shit together?
Show anything?
Can he get it together?
Because
remotely?
really, he hasn't shown anything to warrant playing more than James Robinson.
Okay. How about we make a bet about it? So you have him betting at finishing at 8?
I'll say he'll finish anywhere between the 5 to to 8 range.
And I'll say anywhere between 10 to 12.
All right.
Whoever loses throws a pie in the other's face.
Wow.
Don't think I
That's
forgot
fair.
about you with that fucking
Write
Mike
it
Thomas
down.
tattoo over there, bud.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh, I didn't forget that.
Oh.
What did I say? If he
You would
finished in
get
the top
13
three,
tattooed on your back if you
If
finish
I-
at the top 3.
well, he hurt his toe this week. So
Yeah, he's out for the rest of the year because of that. So
not
Yeah,
look-
that's probably what's
that's watch. You'll
Uh,
get an update. You'll get an update today. Oh yeah, his toe got re-injured and he slipped and fell, and then his leg twisted in the wrong direction.
Michael Thomas is kind of another guy though, where he's gotten a lot of his value because of his touchdowns.
All right. That's all I have for that game. That'll wrap up
Yeah.
Faith or Blasphemy. Let's breeze over pickups because they're pretty light, but
Greg Dortch, if he is out there,
get him.
snag him.
Get him
I would
until
grab Greg Dortch at
He's
this
a,
point.
he's a fix right now. Once Hopkins comes back and once Rondell Moore comes back, he's probably not going to be that great, but he has gotten double-digit targets the past 2 games. He's a good flex option.
I would keep an eye on Savage AP Ryan
Yep.
this week, especially if Joe Mixon doesn't play. I keep an eye on his injury. Especially
Craig
since running backs are
Reynolds?
so scarce. I'm not bothering with Craig Reynolds.
Yeah, I'm
not-
not. Yeah.
I think he's just gonna be it's gonna be the fucking Jamal Williams experience.
pretty much.
They already put him in when Swift plays, so
Zay Jones, I think he's a solid pickup.
I would
He's a very solid pickup.
I would pick him. Romeo Dobbs. I'm picking him up.
I would burn like 20%,
I'm picking him up.
20 to 25 of fab on him. You're picking him up?
No, I was about a Mac Hollins.
No.
What do you guys think?
You got to stick to your guns if you don't believe in that Raiders offense.
Yeah, I would.
Brother.
Well, no, to be fair, because I will actually side with him on this one. I actually do like Matt Collins, depending on how much you spend on him, because for some reason it's like Derek Carr just forgets how to throw the ball to everybody but Matt Collins, apparently.
I
Like,
mean,
Darren Waller, he's throwing it 50 feet to his left.
I think he could maybe
Triple
be,
coverage with Devontae Adams, and then for some reason with Matt Collins, it's just a dime every single time. So
To be honest, I think he's a waste of money for waivers. Like
it depends on how bad your team is.
I think the reason why he's doing so well is because Devontae Adams really isn't, and Darren Waller really isn't. And I really don't believe in their offense, but I do still think there will be some positive regression for those guys. I think they're just too good
Yeah.
to not get it. So I'm not buying Mac Hollins.
What about Devin Duvernay? I say
See, I have him in one league.
they're like a couple. If you're dealing with injuries this week and you need like the chance of somebody getting a touchdown or 2 of them, I think he's a good. He's a flex consideration. Depends on how deep your league is, how desperate you
Yeah,
are.
I would only pick him up if like you really like you just got to
Well, like a $1 or
touchdown.
$0 bid on him, and in case of emergency, throw him in there.
They do play
Yeah.
Buffalo this week.
That's going to be a good game.
That actually,
Is Tre'Davious White even back yet?
I don't know.
Oh,
Or is he still out?
I have no clue. Actually,
Well, that
I don't
actually-
pay attention.
Because if he's still out,
That actually leads me into a Bills player. I actually do like Isaiah McKenzie as a waiver grab this week.
see,
Allen is looking at him a lot.
Well,
He's throwing it to him.
is
a good
Jamison
amount.
Crowder still playing? See, because he
He's
was
alive.
yeah,
well,
he was
Oh,
splitting.
that's right. I forgot. He is on Buffalo.
He was splitting slot
He-
snaps with.
Yeah,
McKenzie.
he did
have-
have
9 targets, 7 catches last week. They play Baltimore this week, who are dead last against receivers. I would grab Isaiah if you need a flex. I think Isaiah McKenzie's a good bet.
Do you think
Good offense.
Stephon Diggs about to have a career in one game.
Maybe he will, but I still. Maybe you just hope he gets a touchdown.
Yeah, I would take the chance on that maybe, but I wouldn't bank on it.
Yeah.
But it is the Bills' offense, so you have a better shot at scoring than anybody
Josh
else.
Allen's going to throw it 40 times anyway.
Yeah,
So,
Right, so-
you might as well take that shot.
well, technically, you think Diggs is probably going to get like 10 to 15 targets. So that still leaves another 25, 30 targets wide open.
I
He'll
have
get some.
one for you guys. Josh Palmer.
If Allen misses, yes. If
Yeah.
not, no.
I agree.
I think I agree with that too.
I agree with what he said.
What about Geno Smith, Marcus Mariota, Daniel Jones?
I mean, like, if you really,
Hey, you.
if you're in a 2
Well, I mean,
quarterback,
Marcus Mariota's fucking outscoring Jonathan Taylor. So
Yeah.
if you're in a 2 quarterback league, or if you need a QB for this week, I'd rather bet on Mariota.
yeah.
Just because of the sole fact that he's a running quarterback. I mean, that's probably it, to be honest. I mean, if somebody dropped Aaron Rodgers in your league, I'd pick him up, to be honest. I mean,
he's out on a lot of
I
waivers.
have one for you guys.
I'd pick up Trevor Lawrence.
Who might be out there. He's not in our 14-man league because I was a dick and I drafted him. But Madison.
There's no way he's on waivers.
If he's on waivers, drop 50% of your fab.
You gotta pick
if
him up.
he's on waivers,
I seriously do think when Cook comes back, I really do think it's going to be a committee. I really think this might have been the final straw,
and it's
especially if Madison does like he normally does.
Depending on how much time Cook misses, or if that comes, I would throw like 60% of my fab.
Yeah. Especially if
Madison.
you're a Dalvin Cook owner.
I was a dickhead and just drafted like 5 people's
but that's smart
handcuffs.
because look, we don't predict injuries, but we have injury concerns.
Yeah,
and it's been coming to fruition here. And I think if he's somehow on the wire, go get him. And if you drafted him, you might end up having a solid RB2, low RB1 kind of guy. And Trevor Lawrence?
I'd pick him up.
I'd pick him up if you're desperate.
Especially if you need a quarterback.
Especially 2 QB league.
If you have like Russell Wilson, I think I would drop Russell Wilson for Trevor Lawrence at this point.
At this point, maybe, yeah, I probably would consider it.
If Tua is still out there somehow, make sure you grab him.
What about David Njoku?
I was about to say David Njoku.
He's
the tight end 9.
I will say, and he does play Atlanta,
which
who
is
is
also useless.
I know,
it is
it's
useless.
absolutely terrible.
He had the one good week.
The Falcons are 31st against tight ends.
He's a good streaming option.
I think
he did have 10 targets last week. His targets have gone up every single week.
David Njoku kind of does this, though.
Yeah,
he does.
At this point, like he'll kind of have like 1 or 2 games every year where you're like, oh, that's why he went in the first round, and then just I don't know. It just seems like he's not like a focal point of the game plan.
We talked about this earlier. It's quarterbacks and receivers.
Yeah. Right now it's Amari Cooper and Nick Chubb, but
Robert Tonyan.
Nah.
I'd
rather pick up Romeo Dobbs.
Aiden Hurst. Nah. Irv Smith. I would take him.
I pick up Irv Smith.
The targets are there.
Yeah.
He's had 8 and 6. It just hasn't been working for him.
Yeah, I would pick up Irv Smith. Tight ends are just so mid.
Like we just talked about David Njoku. He's the tight end 9. He had 1 fucking good week.
Yeah, I mean.
So.
Do you guys have anything else? Anybody else?
No, I think that's it for the waiver pickups. So, I think that wraps up our show today. And make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Tell your mother, tell your father, tell your uncles about us. And
thanks for watching.
Yeah,
everybody have a great day.
Or listening.
Except Nathaniel Hackett.
Fuck Nathaniel Hackett.
Go fuck yourself. And we are out.
Fuck it.